So, folks, there is a state in the United States of America called Colorado. The state of dreams, probably. And they have a slew of MAGA candidates running to be governor of Colorado. They had a primary debate a little over a week ago. And I thought we'd take a look at it. Because guess who's moderating this debate? That's right, folks. It's the best newsman in the biz, the best local newsman. And his name is Kyle Clark. And I really wish at this point we had some kind of theme song for Kyle Clark. I feel like Jazz Dog could get on this and make some kind of theme song for Kyle. I think Kyle is a recurring character on the stream at this point, and we really should honor him with some kind of musical stinger. Kyle the man, indeed. Let's dive into it, folks.
Colorado's Republican Party is in the wilderness, shut out in major statewide races for more than a decade, torn apart by infighting and division, and having only elected one Republican governor in Colorado in the last 50 years. 3 candidates hope to change that. State Representative Scott Bottoms, who's brought a MAGA, no-compromises style to the Capitol.
Scott Bottoms, ironically hated by Bottoms.
State Senator Barb Kirkmeyer, a traditional conservative with decades of deep experience in government. And Ministry Leader Victor Marx, a political newcomer making extraordinary claims about his work as a so-called high-risk missionary overseas. This is Next Presents the Race for Governor.
I'm so excited. You guys have no idea. There he is. Also, I don't know. I do apologize to the news people of Colorado. I don't know his co-host's name, but I do appreciate the commitment that he has to tie clips, because I'm pretty sure I've seen him in multiple debate moderating settings with the same pair of eyeglasses as miniature eyeglasses as a tie clip. And I might be wrong, but I think they mimic directly his actual eyeglasses, which is very funny to me.
Thank you for joining us here at the Cable Center on the beautiful campus of the University of Denver. I'm Kyle Clark from 9 News, here alongside my colleague Marshall Zellinger. Our audience for tonight's Republican gubernatorial
Marshall Zellinger. Remember him, folks.
Debate has politely agreed to refrain from applause or interruption during the debate, with 2 exceptions, one of them being now, when we welcome the 3 candidates on the Republican ballot for governor. State Representative Scott.
Oh, and I should have said at the beginning, if you are enjoying the show, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the follow button, leave a comment, do the things, and also do consider supporting the show. You guys make this show possible. Could not do it without you fine folks. And let's keep on going.
Bottoms, Ministry Leader Victor Marx, and State Senator Barb Kirkmeyer. Welcome to all of you. Thank you for being here to debate.
What? Why does he have a dog on stage? What? I'm already baffled.
Thank you for being here to debate.
A note for everyone watching, except for introductions in all of our debates, we don't refer to candidates using elected or educational titles. You, as voters, will ultimately decide through your ballot if any of these candidates will hold the title of governor. Candidates, you've agreed in advance to a few ground rules. 1-minute answers to most questions. Continued discussion at our discretion. 1-minute closing statements and a chance to ask each other questions as we respectfully explore areas where you agree and disagree.
So let's get right after it. Democrats have run Colorado single-party control at the state capitol for the last 8 years, 14 of the last 20 years. What is one specific area where you believe that Colorado Democrats have overreached, have lost the support of most Coloradans, and you would enact major change? Ms. Kirkmeyer.
Thank you for the question, and thank you all for participating here tonight and being engaged with us in this conversation. And before we get started, I promised my 6 grandsons that I would give them a shout out. So, hey guys, I'm here. So with that, where have the Democrats overreached? Pretty much in every area. The Democrats in this state, one-party control, have made a complete mess of our state. We're unaffordable, we're unsafe, we are unraveling, and our roads are a mess, for goodness sakes. So I think they've overreached everywhere. What I will do is I have a plan. I have a plan to whip our budget into shape within 6 months, because we do have an issue with our budget where we've had $1.2 to $1.5 billion deficit, a structural deficit year over year that I've been on the Joint Budget Committee. So they've overreached there. The other thing is an area where they've really grossly underserved the people of the state of Colorado is for years, 15 years, this Democrat-led majority in our state balanced the budget on the backs of students. They did it on purpose, where they would cut funding to the schools. That is a constitutional issue to me, and I worked to ensure that we make sure that there is funding, that we're meeting our constitutional requirement. Is my time up? Is that
your time is up? Yep. The countdown clock will be right in front of us. That countdown clock will be right in front of us, as agreed to in the rules. It will count down and it'll turn red towards the end of your time. Okay. No worries. Everybody's going to get a little bit of extra time if you want it.
All right. Thank you,
Mr. Bottom. Same question. An area where Dems have overreached, overplayed their hand, lost Colorado, and you will make major change.
Thank you for the question. The simple answer is they've destroyed pretty much everything in our state. To pick one thing that I would put up at the front is day one, I'm going to go back to using the Constitution as our guide rule. We are not a constitutional state anymore. We have completely torn apart the Constitution. I've come down many times in the well at the Capitol at the microphone and argued this, that I've read the Constitution, say you can't pass this bill, you can't do this law. And they've come down, the Democrats have come down to the microphone and said, well, we'll pass a law.
I'm sorry, I'm still hung up on the dog. I'm hung up on the dog because we watched an entire interview with him earlier, Victor Marx in particular, and nowhere in it does he talk about the dog. And I'm Googling furiously here, and it seems like the dog is both a combat dog and a therapy dog. I gotta be honest, I'm very confused. There are stories about this dog on CBN.com, right? Like, this article from 2018 uncritically regurgitates the idea that Victor Marx is out there rescuing children and women, etc. And he's not willing to divulge any details on these things. But buried in this article is just Marx's canine protector and companion, Scout, also doubles as a therapy dog and will minister to the children one-on-one. That's just a lone sentence with no elaboration in this 2018 article. And, the only other reference I can find is from 2019 on Fox News. This particular part, which we have to wait for a couple seconds here. It's a short clip, and I'm just baffled by this. Let's see here.
All right, thank you. All right, America's good boy is getting an invite to the White House. The heroic dog, credited with helping take down al-Baghdadi, expected to return to the U.S. next week.
And today we're seeing what these canines can actually do. This dog is Scout, and he has faced off against ISIS fighters. He's been shot at and even held a terrorist at bay. Good boy.
Look at that. Joining us right now with more is owner and Marine veteran and missionary Victor Marx.
Good morning.
Hey, Victor,
morning.
Good to see you again.
Now, we're noticing a trend here. This particular breed of dog seems to be the number one used by a lot of the military. The Belgian Malinois.
Correct, yeah. And it's because of their intelligence, athletic ability. But I would let people know the level of training received by Special Operations Forces, it's constant, it's intense, so that they're professional, just like their colleagues they work with. So It's not. I don't recommend people going out and buying a Belgian Malinois, right?
Really?
Without proper breeding and training. She's from Baden Canine, and they're the ones who really specialize in this.
She's shaking right now. Is it because it's cold or
No,
because she's on TV?
She's looking for threats.
Really?
And she's focused
Why do you
in
have
on
her
one.
on a table? Is there a reason?
Easier for us to just hold it
Okay. So, can you give us ideas some of the training they do and the way you keep them active?
Yeah, first of all, it's got to be the breeding, right? And then the training is all the basics. Because if you can't control a dog, and the main thing is their attention, they have to have focus or they won't be able to do the commands.
Now, we know that that dog that is unnamed, but we've seen the picture, chased Baghdadi into a dead-end tunnel. Now, you've got an assistant who's going to assist us right now to show what it's like for a controlled bite, right?
Correct.
So, explain what we're about to see.
So the focused intensity that she has
There's
is
your
what...
friend.
Look, she's ready.
Come, Foos up. Let's go.
We were going to have
And,
Brian do
we'll
this,
say
but
she
we
will
thought better.
protect you.
Okay.
So watch him. Take. Good.
Whoa.
Good, Scout. Good, Scout. Good. Out.
So, okay, so it's also an attack dog. Just to be clear. All right. Cool. She's a retired military dog. Yeah, I do find it weird to bring a dog to a debate that is trained to attack human beings.
You sue us. In other words, they don't care about the rule of law. They don't care about statute. They don't care about Constitution. Well, we're just going to go back to the Constitution. That affects Tabor. That affects Second Amendment. That affects parental authority, children. That affects water rights. That affects everything. And so we're just going to do a silly little thing called the Constitution.
Would you like a little extra time, or you want to save it for later?
No, I give it to Mr. Marx.
All right, very good. Mr. Marx. Same question to you. Area where the Dems have overreached and lost the majority of Coloradans.
Well, I better preface this by saying I'm not a politician.
Well, you are tonight.
Do I look like it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll try.
You're running for fucking governor, dude. Do I look like a politician?
Harder not to. You know, for me, I believe the difference between being a politician is one of the reasons why we're here. I'm a leader. I have experience working with governments. I'm a negotiator, not a debater. That's the difference I think we're going to see tonight. As far as overreach, I think the people...
He's genuinely doing the joke from Community. He's doing the Jeff Winger from fucking Community. Oh my God, you're right, Jazz Dog.
Colorado can clearly, without reservation, talk about the overreach. The housing isn't affordable anymore. Teenagers graduate from high school and they leave. They can't come back because of the cost of living. We're not safe like we used to be. And they've certainly overreached and taken our freedoms away and liberties. So this is a great time. And it's exciting about what can happen through the next election.
Mr. Marx, thank you. For any of you to have the chance to pull off the upset in November's general election, you'll need to unite Republicans and attract support from unaffiliated voters. But Scott Bottoms and Barb Kirkmeyer, you have both said that you will not support Victor Marx if he is your party's nominee for governor. Mr. Bottoms, you have described Mr. Marx as a con man. That's a pretty serious charge. Why don't you take 1 minute to explain why, and then Mr. Marx will have 1 minute to respond.
This is why I like Kyle Clark a lot. Like, even when he is moderating a debate, like, there are some great and very direct questions that get asked. And I think that's necessary. We need Kyle Clark to gain national prominence so that he moderates national level debates. All right? We need it.
Yeah, I stand by that. I also said he was corrupt, and I also said he lies, and he lied to me personally quite a few times. And so I stand by that. I can't put somebody like that any more than I can put a Democrat into the governor's seat. I'll support Senator Kirkmeyer. We don't see eye to eye, but I don't think she's corrupt. All of the allegations going on out there, you got to be blind or naive or something not to at least believe a handful of these. And I also have talked to people in CIA, FBI, State Department. They've confirmed a lot of these things to me personally. In fact, some of your reporters got their information from me. And so the idea that I'm going to support that, I can't do it. He conned my church. I'm not okay with that, and I'm going to stand against that 100%.
How specifically did he con your church?
He came and told me that he rescued, the term he used was rescued, not gave teddy bears to, but he rescued 45,000 people in over 100 situations, 30 countries. And that was a lie.
Mr. Bottoms, thank you. Mr. Marx, your response.
You're mean. You know, this is the same rhetoric as someone who's desperate, who's already lost.
Salazar, send an email to the White Forest folks. They should be able to get you sorted on that one.
And the things that he says, I can just say this: accusations without evidence is nothing more than gossip or a lie. And if those things were so bad that you personally were offended as a pastor, according to the Word of God, aren't you supposed to come to me directly versus start to publicize it?
Yeah, Salazar, sorry about that. Like, I don't know why, but it does seem to happen sometimes. Shoot them an email, and they should be able to sort you out.
I actually reached out to you. The reference where
and let me know if they don't get back to you, and I'll make sure that I get an answer from them. But they should also get back to you.
I think you got your feelings hurt is the night before I announced, Scott, you said, we got to talk. So when we talked, you said,
the Republicans do want to use the police veto to override the legislature. That's why none of them bring it up.
I mean, it's true. That's true. Like, Jared Polis is... I despise him. I despise him quite a bit. Winbeep,
hug.
Thank you for rectifying the error in the meantime while Salazar looks to get an answer from White Forest. Appreciate you. And thanks for supporting the show.
Don't announce you're running. I said, why not? And you said, well, I had thoughts about you being my lieutenant governor. And I said, I can't, Scott. You said, why not? I said, because you can't win. And I stand by that.
Ms. Kirkmeyer, you have also said that you will not support Mr. Marx. We're going to let Ms. Kirkmeyer speak here. You've also said that you will not support Mr. Marx if he's your party's nominee. Why not? And what's that going to mean for Republicans in down ballot races if your party is visibly split over your nominee for governor?
Well, first of all, thank you for the question. Our party is already split, and it's already going to be an issue if Mr. Marx is the nominee and on the ballot. I think we'll lose every down ballot race there is with him on there. I think it'll be a replay of 2010, similar to Dan Mays, and it could be the extension of the Republican Party. But the reason I have said that I will not support Mr. Marx is because, one, I mean, he is unqualified, but that's not really the reason. It's because he's unfit. By his own words, he has said he's unfit. He talks about homicidal and suicidal tendencies. Makes me a little worried about, being in rooms with him, that quite frankly, he's a fraud. He makes up these tall tales, these tall stories, and I just don't believe them. And even when you have asked him these questions directly, he just doesn't answer them. And lastly, if you can't keep your word to show up to a debate, to show up to a forum that you committed to, I'm thinking you can't keep your word on anything. And that's why I won't support you. You can't keep your word. I can't trust you. You're unfit. You're unqualified. You think you're an outsider? You're not an outsider. You're a politician. You've entered the ring right now. So you're a politician. You don't get to keep claiming.
I wasn't expecting this from Barbara, but she came in swanging. She came in swanging.
I'm an outsider. That's just your way of saying you don't know what you're talking about.
Mr. Marx, would you like to respond to what Ms. Kirkmeyer said?
Sure. Kind of mean too, Barbara.
Honestly, I'm honest.
Just because a person doesn't believe the truth, it doesn't make it a lie. And there are so many tens of thousands of people that we've helped over the years. And when either one of you declare that I'm not telling the truth, then you...
Tens of thousands of people. In the one-on-one interview that Kyle Clark did with this man, he refused to list any number of people that he actually helped. or how he helped them.
You have to go against Mark Osgeist.
Who is this guy? This guy has an entire career based around being like a combat expert, as well as a minister, as well as like a special operations like missionary. And he talks about having saved tens of thousands of people in other countries, going into dangerous situations to like free them from some ill-defined threat. And it's just, he doesn't really give specifics, and it kind of seems like he's been running like a decades-long scam off of people who aren't going to ask him too many inconvenient questions.
13 hours. You have to go against...
Oh, and by the way, the combat that he claims to be an expert in is called Cajun Karate. He's literally an Always Sunny in Philadelphia character. Also, when you look up what is Cajun Karate, this is the #1 result from 2004. After years of punching people, pimping prostitutes, and pushing his weight around Louisiana, gumbo gangster and bust-em-up bouncer Carl William Marx Sr. one day saw the light. Finally freed from a Cajun prison built of ego and pride, Marx stopped sinning, but he kept fighting. Only this time, he was punching for the Lord. Teaching people the homemade brand of Cajun karate he cooked up and peppered with ample helpings of loving self-defense. Jesus Christ is the difference, Marx said, a cadence dripping with the thick, sweet rhythm of the bayou. Marx said he was born again in the image of the only man who's ever brought him to his knees, and then lifted him up with salvation. When I was a criminal, we had a code. We don't mess with the family. You mess with us, we mess with you. We don't go after wives and children. Also, just like hanging alone here, nowadays, Marx is saddened by stories of drive-bys and random shootings where innocent people regularly die. As opposed to in the past, when he found joy in stories about that. This is AI. I swear to God, this was the #1 result when I Googled Cajun Karate. All right? That's why, unlike the founder of godless Marxism, with whom he shares a name and maybe a distant family connection, Marx vows to spread the word of the Lord everywhere he goes, the best way he knows, through a brand of 100% American Christian karate he founded that might cause some Christians to cringe. This really feels like that episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia where they invent fight milk. That's what this feels like. I'm dying. It's this is so much better than I ever thought it could be. Like, we'll just finish looking at this. This is from the Santa Maria Times, by the way. In Marx's good book, breaking noses for Jesus does not violate any of the 10 commandments. Bad boys beware. The girl, I say, when these guys come on you and they try to get close to you with all this, I love you, let's do it, break his nose. Marx has no time for boys or men who disrespect girls or women. Such behavior is a sin against God, and Marx will have none of it. To me, that's an insult, and she should break his nose. Sitting in the cluttered office of his Santa Maria Karate School, Marx chuckled at the thought of good girls standing up for themselves by using one of the serious swamp fighting techniques he learned growing up in red-hot crawdaddy country and developed during the decades he ran amok as a hardcore brawler, boxer, and street fighter. Incredible things happening in Colorado.
My wife, my children. You have to go against thousands of people that have followed me for decades and prove them wrong, including the Denver Post, who contacted...
He literally stole that from Resident Evil 7 DLC. It was published in 2004, so it looks to me like Resident Evil 7 DLC took from Victor Marx.
Dave Eubank. Today, this morning, while Dave is in Burma fighting and caring for people, and they said, what Victor Marx said, is it true? Was he shot at? Did he shoot? Did he? Dave said yes.
Also, he got asked whether or not he's ever killed a man, and he did not answer it straight. Like, this man's crazy. Like, genuinely insane.
He's the one who brought me in. So you'll have to call Dave Eubank a liar as well. To me, I wish that y'all weren't so emotionally invested in this.
Born Again Cajun cooks up Christian karate was my first Google result, a news story. Yeah, that's the news story we just read.
And I'll apologize first to you. This wasn't supposed to happen. An outsider who no one knew wasn't supposed to step into this race and ruin your next step of being a professional politician. And I
Pacer, thank you for the gifted membership.
mean it. I'm sorry. And Scott, well, you didn't have a chance anyway, but I know it still bothered you. And I never meant to hurt either one of y'all's feelings. It's just I didn't think y'all could win. And if somebody doesn't win that Republican chair as governor, there's a lot of people going to continue to move out and continue to suffer.
So, Mr. Marx, that apology, if you want to call it that, is indicative of the disrespect that you have shown to your opponents throughout this race. You called them, quote unquote, inconsequential. You certainly may feel like you're the best candidate suited to be governor, but why dismiss people with years and decades of government experience by calling them inconsequential on national television? They've been elected to represent Coloradans.
Well, what's your definition of inconsequential?
It was your words, so you tell me what you meant.
What I meant by it is regarding the race and winning the governor's seat, neither one of
No, it's absolutely the same. It's absolutely the same. Victor Marx. This is from ColoradoPolls.com, and again, talking about Victor. I keep saying Karl Marx. Victor Marx and his Cajun Karate School.
them could.
Salon.com also has an article about him being an expert in Cajun karate, which I'll link in chat here for you right now as well. It's the same fucking guy. God, I love the host. Kyle Clark is the best in the biz.
Which is the whole reason why I entered. Listen, getting into this political field and running for governor, this is not a promotion for me. This is me stepping away from what I've known and how I've served people, stepping into a realm that, quite frankly, I had no interest in. But the pain, the suffering of Coloradans that are watching, that 6'7" dude that I met 3 days ago at an arm wrestling match who came up to me, guarantee you he was 320 if he was a pound.
Why are you talking about a 320-pound arm wrestler, dude? What are you talking about?
Said, I make $80,000 a year, Mr. Marx. I can't afford to buy a house. I have 3 children. What are you going to do to help us?
Just to clarify, you said you don't believe that they can win, but if Mr. Bottoms or Ms. Kirkmeyer is your party's nominee, you will support them?
In Victor Marx's world, your height and strength dictate the amount of rights you have in his society.
100%.
Okay.
That's what we call a good Republican.
Thank you.
We'll get back to the feelings. We'll get back. We agreed to no applause. Thank you. We'll get back to your feelings for each other, but let's talk about something that you all agree on, surprisingly, as I heard in your first answer, is affordability. And that's an area that, across party lines, people have agreed is a top concern. If you're elected, it's highly likely you'll be working with a Democrat-led state legislature, or at least a split legislature. So please speak to both what you intend to do alone through the power of the executive and what you think you can realistically get done with Democrats through legislation. Ms. Kirkmeyer, what can you do single-handedly as governor?
Oh shit, wait, I'm sorry, Victor Marx is actually Victor Marx Jr.? He has, his dad was the first, like, the founder of Cajun Karate, so, like, he's carrying on the legacy of Cajun Karate. Oh my god. Oh my god. some homespun Cajun karate moves, a legacy, a new American martial art.
To bring down the cost of living in Colorado, and what can you convince Democrats to do along with you?
So
Samantha Maeve, I would give so much to see.
This Cajun karate shit sounds lame as asterisk asterisk asterisk.
Counterpoint Olympians, I would give so much to see some kind of home video production of the Cajun Karate Kid, right? Give us the Karate Kid, but made on a $0 budget, and instead of learning karate, he learns Cajun karate, all right? And he learns to punch boys on the nose if they get too fresh with the ladies. And he punches them with the power of Christ.
Thank you for the question. What I can do alone is this.
Sauce on, sauce off.
There are over 300 boards and commissions that the governor gets to make appointments to. Those boards and commissions develop the...
I hear one of the most advanced moves is throwing a fistful of crawdads at him.
Rules and regulations for every industry in this state, essentially. So a governor picks those appointments. A governor gets to select those individuals, and I will on day one.
How is this guy like even in the running? This is insane. This is insane.
Yeah, but that sounds like a Christian karate, and Christian karate is just lame.
Oh yeah? If Christian karate is lame, explain this.
Name?
The rival
Where are
gym
you from?
practices jambalaya judo and calls themselves crawfish kai.
That is so good, Sake. We need to get a treatment together ASAP. I'm sure we can find some basic funding for this. It's brilliant. I love it.
No.
You don't look like you're from Canaan.
I know where I'm from.
You have to weaken them all and you win the fight. You cannot fight only with...
This is the progenitor of Christian karate, or Cajun karate.
Fists. You must use this organ too.
You're gonna be Suarez champion fighter. Just don't lose focus.
Use whatever time you have to train and heal.
Take him out!
No distractions.
What do you do for work?
I'm an apprentice.
Oh, for who?
Come. Follow me.
I kick ass for the Lord. It's literally the embodiment of Mac from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Do you think it's true what people say about him?
He's not like anyone I've ever worked with.
Does Carpenter paying him?
He takes care of what I need.
There are many good life lessons to be learned from sport. If this is your gift, can you cultivate it to positively affect those around you? To let your light shine?
Jerusalem Invitational, 400 denarii. None of this is ours if you don't keep fighting.
For that money, I would jump in the fight.
You really enjoy it?
It's not just the fight. It's training, walking out of each fight knowing that I defeated whatever they put in front of me.
You are aware of his miracles?
He's a carpenter, son of a carpenter.
No. Look further.
So why help me?
And he helped me by casting a miracle on me. A miracle that allowed me to lay on hands in the arena.
Nobody.
But instead of to heal, it was to harm.
You're somebody to me.
And of course, at the end of the film, we finally learn Baby Yoda's real name.
Go in and start looking through all of those boards. I'll have experts that are working with me, people from the industry that work with me, and we'll start putting people on those boards that will actually start calling back some of the regulations that have truly increased the unaffordability in our state. Also, as a governor, the Department of Public Health. They're supposed to be giving out wastewater permits, for sewer.
Also, Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. I'm sorry. I got distracted by how good Jambalaya Judo was and Crawfish Kai. Got too distracted. That was great. But also, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. And also, thank you for making this show possible. Appreciate you.
5 years behind. I don't understand why this governor hasn't gone in and told his department to get to work and come to work, quite frankly, but also to get to work and get those permits out. So that's something else that I can do, is direct and lead my departments, because I understand what they should be doing, and I can make sure that they are doing it.
Real quickly,
and with regard
what did you do with Democrats?
What I've done with Democrats is very simple. I have worked across the aisle for the betterment of every Coloradoan in this state, and I have delivered. I've worked with Senate Democrats from Arvada, from Thornton, from pretty much everywhere in the state. And I, working with a Democrat, did the largest property tax cut in the state's history. Now, I know people are frustrated because your property taxes still went up,
Monthly
but it was a
Christian
decrease.
anything as lame as asterisk, asterisk, asterisk.
I don't know. You gotta account for VeggieTales.
And what would have been a huge increase in your property taxes, not once, not twice, to work on affordability in the state, to ensure that those seniors and those...
Yeah, she's like a moderate, traditional Republican. She's like the closest to not MAGA Republicans are gonna get in Colorado, and something tells me she's not gonna get very far.
Those college students who are graduating, that you might have an opportunity to afford a home at some point in your life here in the state, and that seniors were able to stay in their home.
Ms. Kirkman, I'm glad you corrected yourself when you said tax cut, because we all know the way you defined it is the way I've been defining it. Mr. Marx, you brought up affordability in your first answer. So what do you do unilaterally, no other help, as governor through the executive order? And what do you think Democrats would actually join you on?
Well, great question, and thanks for doing that tax cut. We benefited from it. I appreciate that.
No, you did.
He does seem like he's on something.
You know, the cost of living, that's probably the biggest thing on people's hearts and minds right now. The pain point, it doesn't matter whether you're Democrat, Republican, or Independent. We're just all Coloradans, and we all feel the pain of this. You have to do an assessment of why is it unaffordable? Why are the taxes so high? Why are fees strangling us? Why is it difficult to build as a home builder because of the delay of permits? Go back to I call it the mother lode. It's the budget. It's the need to charge Coloradans on every aspect they can, because those folks under the Golden Dome, they've got an addiction to spending, and that's the problem.
It's so true. The problem, the reason everything sucks right now is because the government is spending too much money on helping people do things in Colorado. So we need to fix that by cutting government spending because reasons.
I asked for something specific, real briefly. I didn't hear any specific answer.
You didn't? Maybe I didn't hear it well. How am I going to do what?
Well,
Maybe I didn't hear it well. Oh, this man is not okay.
Given you a minute to talk about as an executive order or something you would do with Democrats. I'll give you about 10 more seconds.
Thanks. I simply negotiate with people to accomplish a greater good, like I've done all over the world. Just because other people haven't done it in the past doesn't mean I can't.
Mr. Bottoms, the same question about doing something through executive order as
Yeah, he's not running on all cylinders, Harold. Absolutely not.
Solo power as the governor versus getting Democrats to do something along with you, which is kind of against your brand right now, that you've made it your brand to be not really compromising in the legislature. What would you do specifically with Democrats?
Yeah, that's good that you do notice that. There are certain things that I won't compromise with Democrats no matter what.
I am curious why he seems to be wearing sunglasses inside. Are those like Meta Ray-Bans? What are those? Like, is he doing like
also,
some kind of...
on a side note, it's refreshing to have them have a large shot clock with feedback on timing. Shot clocks have existed for 50 plus years in sports.
Yeah, like it, I don't know, like The way that Colorado moderates debates should be everywhere. This should be the norm. The debate moderation here is top tier. Their glasses with the tint. But why though? It's just a strange look, I guess.
That's with children and Tabor and Second Amendment, things like that. There's a lot of Democrats in the House, and I'm sure in the Senate too, that are really ready to break away from their party, but there's a lot of monolithic control going on there. And I've had these conversations with many of them that they would love to vote for a little bit more local control, a little bit more deregulation. Well, we can do some of that through Executive Order Day 1. You can deregulate certain things, and then you do have to spread out into the agencies to do that.
Jack say go Avalanches.
Go Avalanches! Thank you for the $5 super chat.
But I would say the number one thing is to deregulate, and then we have to attack property taxes. If we don't attack property taxes...
So, slash regulations and then lower property taxes is the solution here. Cool. The regulations that, like, keep products safe and, like, buildings safe and all that, it seems bad.
And maybe somehow institute or reinstitute Gallagher or a form of Gallagher or something like that. That would actually kind of turn the...
I still want the timer on the screen though. I want to see their podiums change color on low time and game show it up a bit, including mic muting and physical
Physical challenges. I think they should project the timer behind them for the sake of the audience and just for really hammer it home visually. I think that would be a good idea. I'm not so sold on the physical challenges, but like maybe every debate can end with them using like the soft pole weapons from the most dangerous sport in Star Trek. What's it called? I forget what it's called. Parisi squares? I think it's Parisi squares. The thing that Riker does with his dad, where they smack each other with padded sticks, and then they have to dress up like this. I think that all politicians should have to go through a gauntlet of fighting each other in Parisi squares.
The process over fairly quickly, I think. And I don't have to do a study with people. I've been in the House long enough to know how it works.
Thank you, Mr. Buttons. Now some questions to each of you about...
Also, can I just say it has always bothered me that Parisi squares has nothing to do with squares. Like everything that is worn in Parisi squares is round. The weapons are round, the armor is round, the arena is round. It makes me really upset.
How you lead. Mr. Marx, you have said that your qualification to be governor is that you are a CEO who builds solid teams. But I've noticed that when errors happen, you blame your teams. Your campaign website falsely claimed that you had rescued more than 45,000 women and...
If you make it to the final two candidates, you earn the right to enter the Olmec's temple and try to retrieve the legendary artifact. The legendary artifact, by the way, it's called democracy.
Children. You won't say what the real number is, but you blame the website builder. Your social media account falsely claimed you've gone on more than 130 rescue missions. You won't say what the real number is, but you blamed your media agency. You sent out mailers falsely claiming to be a retired Marine. You blamed the printing vendor. Your campaign finance filing was such a mess you had to refile the whole thing, and you blamed a young math teacher working with your campaign. Question. If your qualification to be governor is that you build good teams, what should voters make of your team's basic errors and the way you deflect responsibility?
Kyle fucking Clark just sitting on that, taking his time, lining up the shot. Just absolutely, what an annihilating question. All politicians should have to answer questions like that.
Well, let's go to the biggest question. How many kids have I rescued? That's the one you came and interviewed me on, and which was a good interview. Thank you for the time. I think your editors got excited about the way they leaned into that one to create a bias. Here's the total number of kids I've rescued. Not enough.
My God. Fuck off, dude. Are you fucking kidding me? It's a valid question. People just want to know how many children you've saved when you make that claim. Dude.
That's it.
He's like Neo from the Matrix dodging, and the entire room fucking claps for him. It's insane. He's getting applause.
For folks who want to pigeonhole me on stuff that will absolutely cause safety issues for our team still out there, I won't do it.
How would saying a number of how many kids you saved, how would that endanger anybody?
But in the realm of leadership, everything falls back on me. I simply, when we assess where there was a failure, we put it where it is, we correct it, we find the solution, and we move forward. That's all I've done, Kyle.
What should voters make of the fact that your teams make such fundamental errors about core issues of who you are, what you've done, and what you're doing in this race for governor?
Well, I don't think it's fundamental core issues of who I am. I think it's errors done by an independent contractor on the website. So that was corrected. I think it was done by when they uploaded into the tracer. Other people had issues too. They corrected it within a day.
Mr. Bottoms, back to your relationship in the legislature. In 4 years, you sponsored 20 bills. Only one passed and became law, and it was a commemorative license plate. 14 of your bills have had no other prime sponsor, and only the license plate bill made it past the first committee. All the others died the first step of the way. You frame it as being a no-compromise conservative. It also means you don't get anything done. Is that how you'll lead?
Oh, God. Is it... Man. This is from... Ballots go out June 8th. Oh, no. Who's leading in the primaries? Poll by Signal Research and Polling on behalf of Freedom IEC, an independent expenditure committee supporting Minister and Marine veteran Victor Marx. He polled the highest among GOP gubernatorial candidates with 59%. State Senator Barbara Kirkmeyer had 15%, and State Representative Scott Bottoms had 6%. Fuck, man. Conservatives in this country are broke. Just absolutely broke. Oh, God.
As governor?
So the license plate bill always surprises me because I forget I was on that. That wasn't presented to me until late in second reading, and they tried to use that as leverage against me. I told them take my name off. But even my children kind of give me a hard time. You're saving the state one license plate at a time. But the other bills that I've run, these are bills to stop transgender surgeries, to put pedophiles in jail for life, to stop human trafficking, to make parents the decision maker on any kind of surgery or process or whatever. And I've run actually a couple of bills on each of those subjects. I've also tried to keep boys out of girls' sports. So that's the reason they were voted no against. When I become governor, we will have quite a few more Republican seats, and there's many Republicans ready to cross the aisle and vote with us on some of these issues, and that's how I'll do it.
They're just waiting for you to become governor to agree with you.
No. They've already agreed with me. They came and told me that, but...
What a top-tier, follow-up.
As cathartic as Kyle's skewering is, I remember him doing an even more brutal one on the Colorado 4 Boebert debate, and she still won that district.
Yeah, he did a good job in that debate, but Colorado conservatives are built different. Though to be fair, Boebert only barely won. She only won by 1%. Might have even been less. It was close. But yeah. I mean, Kyle can only do so much. And also, one thing I respect about Kyle is that he throws punches towards Republicans and Democrats. He cares about the truth, which is why he's Colorado's greatest local newsman.
If you understand how the House works, they are told how to vote, when to vote. They are a monolith. And I've watched the governor's guy come down into the House.
I'm a socialist writer in that strict. We activated now. Fuck yeah, Fanny Longlegs.
And pull some of them out when they're starting to vote a little different. An hour later, they come back up and they are squared away. We've had many Democrats tell us, if I vote this way, the Democrat Party will primary me and I will not be elected.
Thank you, Mr. Bottoms.
Ms. Kirkmeyer, you have been in government for decades. You've been at the State House since 2020, a period in time in which a lot of Colorado Republicans think this state has gone to hell in a handbasket. How do you convince Republican primary voters that you aren't, at best, ineffective at stopping the Democrats, or at worst?
Don't do anything but provide a microphone to those who have larger-than-life personalities, and American loves a larger-than-life personality.
I mean, that could be. But also, it's important for candidates to be able to get up and face their adversaries in a debate format. I think that's a pretty core component of what it means to be in a healthy democracy. And I would argue that the real reason debates are broken in America is because big money has basically propped up an awful lot of candidates and paid for an awful lot of propaganda to normalize absolutely insane conservative candidates.
First, part of the problem.
Part of the problem and not stopping Democrats? I'm sorry.
Certainly. How do you convince your Republican primary voters to put you in as governor when you haven't been able to stop what Democrats have done in this state over the last 10 to 20 years?
Sure. So first of all, I served as a county commissioner for a total of 20 years in Weld County. When I left my county, I led it to zero debt. We were in great shape. We had over $100 million in our contingency fund balance to make sure that we could make it through any recession. So I have been a leader. I've been a great leader. I have, again, working across the aisle, because I'll work with whoever I need to work with, regardless of what side of the aisle they're on, to make sure that we will be able to move our state forward. So I've worked with Democrats to ensure, one, that we stabilize the healthcare safety net, because that's extremely important, because we're in a crisis mode right now. That I have cut property taxes, both as a county commissioner and as a state senator. And when it comes to the budget, that budget, I have worked with Democrats again across the aisle, but I've made sure that we do have a balanced budget, that we are working to cut spending. Have I got as much cuts as I want? No, but I'm in the minority. But being one of the most powerful people on the Joint Budget Committee and working that budget over to get the cuts that I've been able to cut, to rein in Democrats, to bring in programs and cut programs like we have in the last couple of years.
Man, like, it must really suck to be a Republican, because you can't actually point to anything good that you've done. It's all, we are cutting programs that people rely on and use, and somehow that is what should convince you that we're effective leaders. We saw you all struggling, drowning under a sea of debt, and we said, "That's awesome, man," and high-fived you on your way down to the bottom.
I think demonstrate to Republicans and to independents and unaffiliates, and even to Democrats, that I'm a leader that can get the job done on day one.
Ms. Kirkmeyer, thank you. Mr. Bottoms, you have claimed without offering evidence that there are 45,000 to 50,000 Tren de Aragua gang members in Colorado, mostly in
The last 3 elections in Colorado 3 have also been won and lost by tiny margins. Saul Sandoval lost by 291 votes in the primary to Frisch, who lost to Hurd by 18 ki.
Yeah, like, unfortunately, so much of our political world is controlled by a handful of districts where there are, like, 100 people who are gonna show up, you know? Saul Sandoval. Like, we almost got good things. But, like, genuinely, part of the reason I try and activate folks to get involved with, like, their local elections and local political space is because when you guys actually show up and start organizing with people in your local community, you can get the kind of turnout that will turn elections like that. Like, if 1 or 2 additional people had been active at that time, it, like, the door knocking and phone banking could have genuinely made the difference in who got elected there. Could have changed the course of that region. It's frustrating. But you guys actually do make a difference when you get involved.
Rural areas, which is odd because that's 10 to 20 times the worldwide membership of the gang, according to the U.S. government. You also say that sheriffs in Colorado are preparing to deputize people who have special forces experience to go and fight this foreign army. I reached out to every single sheriff in Colorado. Not one said you're telling the truth. A couple of them laughed you right out of the room.
Shit, Doug. Kyle Clark, you reach out to every single sheriff in Colorado. That's crazy.
Do you stand by your claim, and will you finally present your evidence tonight?
Yeah, this is the first half of your question, the 45,000. So I actually went back because I was told that by 2 ICE agents. So I went back and I talked to federal authorities, actually this week, federal officers, and they said I got that wrong. That what they said was actually happening is 45,000 Venezuelans came directly to Denver and then applied for asylum, and they said there's probably 60 or 70,000 Venezuelans, not cartel, but just Venezuelans. And I said, okay, so I'm going to have to go on Kyle Clark's show and say that differently. And they said, but we do know there's a few thousand cartel in the state of Colorado. I got that one wrong. I misunderstood what the ICE agent was saying, so I checked it out.
Dog, you got fact-checked by ICE. The government agency that right now is most known for lying its ass off in court. That's crazy. That's crazy. I got caught in the lie and ICE had to correct me. Jesus. By an ICE agent, the people who can't read, right? Like, man, like that's disqualifying right there. That on its own.
On this week. Now, going to all the 65 sheriffs in all the counties, I've talked to a couple that said you never called them. You want me to give you some names?
We emailed every single sheriff's office multiple times. We heard back from 40 of the more than 60 sheriffs, and the sheriffs that we heard back from did not support your claims. The one sheriff that you name-checked in your lengthy response to us, Teller County Sheriff Jason Meixel, who was a previous candidate for governor, said you're confused about things you see on the news,
But people who are qualified and uncharismatic get outperformed in polling and elections by people who are unqualified and charismatic people. Like, these are charisma debates, not policy debates.
Well, yeah, but charisma is part of the job. Like, in order to be a politician, you have to be liked. Like, very few politicians get put into office purely because of their policy. You gotta have both. And that's kind of always been part and parcel with democracy.
I believe you just confirmed when you said you couldn't tell the difference between the 45,000 Venezuelans who came to Colorado and 45,000 Tren de Aragua gang members, which do not exist in the whole wide world.
So I'm right about the fact that not all 65 told you that.
Absolutely. What I said was that
15 didn't.
What I said was that we couldn't find one who says you're telling the truth.
That's a funny way to spin that.
Would you like to name the
Dude.
ones who support your claim?
I don't have to now. You just did 15.
No, those are 15 that didn't respond, sir. That's not how math and logic work. Would you?
Oh my God. Kyle, he's already dead. He's polling at 6%.
Would you like to list the sheriffs who publicly will support your claim that they are overrun by TDA gang members and are preparing to deputize special forces?
So when you said that all 65 said that I was making that up and that...
That's not what Kyle said, though. However, an intelligent society wouldn't give a fuck about personalities and more about policies. Sure, but human beings aren't purely rational creatures, and we likely never will be. This is an incredible exchange.
You talked to all 65 and they all said...
No, good grief, sir. That's not what I said. Anybody watching at home can just roll back the tape. I'm not going to respond.
It is just what you said.
What I said was I reached out to every single sheriff in Colorado and not one said you're telling the truth. In fact, we heard from 40 who said that they had no evidence to support your claim. Tonight's your chance. Lay out your evidence.
And 2 weeks ago when you said it on your TV show, you said the same thing. We have the recording. 65 said that
Tonight's
all
the time to lay out your evidence. It feels like you think you've won a clever game here. This is your chance to present your evidence to Colorado that the rural counties are overrun with tens of thousands of TDA members, or to say, whoops, I can't tell the difference between Venezuelans and gang members.
Number one, Kyle Clark, 10 out of 10 very professional, keeping his cool, but also I've gone over the Venezuelan story, right? Like the story about Tren de Aragua gang members. I went through and debunked TYT's reporting on it like 2 years ago. The video is still on my channel somewhere. And the fact that this guy in 2026 is pushing this idea that there are tens of thousands of gang members from Tren de Aragua all across Colorado, like it boggles the mind. Like if you actually looked into any of this shit, you would know there's no possible way for that to be true.
Well, I already said that.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Bottoms.
But you misrepresented the 65. I don't mind you apologizing.
This is going to be difficult because I'm asking for short answers here. So short, think short. I'd like to talk about immigration enforcement. Not a full minute. You're not going to see the countdown. We're going short. If elected, would you seek to roll back Colorado's limit on local law enforcement cooperation with federal immigration enforcement? And would you seek to enroll the Colorado State Patrol in the federal program designed to deputize local and state law enforcement to actively participate in immigration enforcement? I'll start short answer with Mr. Marx.
I love immigration when it's legal, and I think the burden that immigration has put on us is part of the issue of affordability. Over $1.4 billion is spent. I think we can work with the feds for proper law enforcement while still showing compassion to those in need. But it's
dude, it feels like he can barely put words together. It's crazy.
Governor, what I'll do is I'll have a special task force to work with them and go after the criminals, the ones that are here. We'll get them.
Mr. Bottoms.
Yeah,
dude, you have negative charisma. The issue is he doesn't have negative charisma. Victor Marx has a very specific kind of charisma, which you will find in spades within the evangelical Christian community. Like, this is the kind of, like, what comes across as, like, down home, kind of drawling sincerity, even when it's just straight up lies.
The governor does have the ability to mobilize the National Guard. I will do that.
Yeah, he's speaking drunk uncle, exactly.
Specifically against the Venezuelan cartel in Aurora. We can use police forces. We can do a lot of things like that. We can actually engage special forces that are active duty under the direction of the president, Article 32. So there's a lot of options we have, but we have to clean up the illegal immigrant issue and the crime and make sure these people are held accountable.
Ms. Kirkmeyer, would you seek to roll back what the Colorado has done to limit cooperation with federal law enforcement?
That sort of logic just is holding humanity back. No, it's not. Like, observing humanity and human behavior as it is not holding humanity back. That's just how people act. Like, the way you phrase things in, like, survey questions matters because it activates different emotional responses. A common way of doing this, seeing this would be like when you phrase Medicare for all differently, or phrase, for example, you get different results if you talk about like Obamacare versus the Affordable Care Act. Like, this happens quite often, right? It's not like to say humans are incapable of rationality, but it is to say that taken as a whole, humans are also emotional creatures. And we react to that shit. I want to be a Vulcan then? You are welcome to become a fictional character if you want.
I would seek to roll that back, and it's a statutory provision, and it goes even farther than just law enforcement. So I would seek to roll that back because there's clearly a conflict between state law and federal law.
Yeah.
So yes.
And would you try to deputize local law enforcement to help out?
First of all, that's not my role to deputize local law enforcement. They're accountable to the people in the communities that they serve.
Would you do that for Colorado State Patrol?
It would depend. I want to make sure that they're continuing with their job and that they have the ability to work with ICE and work with the federal government on matters of keeping us safe. So yes, I would look at that.
Continuing with short answer, Mr. Bottoms, if elected.
I can't believe Mr. Bottoms made an ass of himself. That's good right there. That was good, Liz Galahad. Thank you for the $2 super chat.
Would you seek to withhold state funding from so-called sanctuary cities, which often have strict limits on cooperation with federal immigration enforcement?
Yeah, I'll definitely withhold funds. Sanctuary cities, sanctuary states, not constitutional, it's illegal. So we might need to put some mayors in jail in the process and some people that are really outside the lines constitutionally. This is not okay to go against federal law.
How would you?
Okay, so we're all right. This guy's running on jailing your local mayors. I could see why you use that 6%.
You put a mayor in jail?
You call the attorney general and say, put them in jail.
Ms. Kirkmeyer.
Okay, I'm not doing that.
Would you seek to withhold funding from so-called sanctuary cities?
Yes, I would. I would probably consider that, but I'm not sure which funding you're talking about, because I don't have the ability as governor to withhold federal funding from local governments. That's not in my role as a governor. So
there are grants that we've seen recently with this administration. There are certain grants that cities and counties can apply for that the legislature and the governor would have control over?
I would consider it, but I also have to consider that the people who live in those communities, whether it's the county or a municipality, those are my constituents as well. And just because maybe their leadership doesn't have it right, or because there is a state law that doesn't work right, doesn't mean that they should be jeopardized and not get the services and the programs that they deserve to get.
So you would disagree with the policy, but you'd let the money continue to flow?
Depends on where it was going, yes.
Mr. Marx.
Well, if you're talking about federal funding, I think it's important.
He's not. He's talking about state funding. I asked.
State funding?
Funding that you would have control over as.
Oh, God, he's not even following the fucking questions, guys. Oh, God, he's just checking out. He's on a trip on stage.
Governor.
Well, I think we gotta.
Sorry.
No, I appreciate that. You know what? Yes. The question, the short answer is yes. If the governor has control, because that is taxpayers' money. And I know more Coloradans out there that are suffering because of the sanctuary city policies.
Like what?
Ms. Kirkmeyer, one last thing.
I would just like a follow.
Suffering how, exactly? How are Venezuelans being able to live in a city at all negatively impacting other people?
So I was a county commissioner during COVID. And actually, Governor Polis told the Weld County Commissioners that he was going to withhold grant funds or withhold dollars from us. He didn't know exactly which funds those were, but he said he was going to. Right. And we went after him on that. And it's because we said we would not enforce his policies, his executive order. And so we went after him on that. The people who live in these communities, regardless of who their elected officials are, still deserve to have those grants and still deserve to have those programs because they are taxpayers. And that is where the dollars are coming from. So the governor shouldn't be so short-sighted that he's not going to provide that to the people who live in our state, regardless of where they live and who's in charge.
Thank you, Ms. Kirkmeyer.
Thank you.
Mr. Marx, Governor Jared Polis is Colorado's first Jewish governor. You are running a campaign that explicitly calls for a return to Christian leadership. You tell church crowds that your campaign is an assignment from God and part of a spiritual war. You told me last week, if elected, you will continue to perform exorcisms of a sort where you command demons to be cast off of people, what you call the secret sauce of your $7 million a year ministry. Question, to what extent...
The secret sauce of his Cajun Karate ministry? I bet it's delicious. Exorcisms? Yeah, if you haven't seen my coverage of that interview, it's fucking amazing.
Do you think church and state should be separate? And what would it mean for Coloradans to, as you say, put godly leadership back into the Capitol?
Okay, I will grant this. If this man sold a secret demon sauce for Cajun food, I'd probably buy it. I'd probably buy it out of curiosity. Like I bet this guy knows how to make a spicy sauce.
I'm starting to believe you're not a Republican.
It's your time. You can use it however you like, but I'd prefer that you answer the question. What does it mean to return Christian leadership to Colorado?
Well, return Christian leadership versus making a state Christian are two different things. I believe separation of church and state, as originally intended by founders, wasn't to keep the people of faith out of public office, but it was to keep the government out of our faith, whether it's Christian, Jewish, Muslim, or atheist. I've worked with Muslims, Sunni, Shia, Christians, Jewish people. I've worked with all type of faiths. And as governor, I'm a man of the law, but my faith absolutely gives me the moral code to do what I do and the backbone to make the hard decisions in spite of fear of man.
Then why describe it as spiritual warfare? Like, if it is just, oh, we want a solid Christian man in leadership who won't push religion on anybody, why are you describing it as a spiritual war? Seems kind of like, I guess I'm a little skeptical. It's nothing, don't worry.
Mr. Marx, thank you. Mr. Bottoms, while we are on the topic of religion and politics, you said that you are deeply honored to have the endorsement of your good friend Joe Oltmann, the MAGA podcaster who has called for the execution by...
Is dodging important in Cajun Karate? You know, I would say it's probably the most important skill. He's actually demonstrating it on stage right now. He's just moving so fast you can't see him. All of the pauses between words, that's him dodging. He's moving too fast.
Hanging of Colorado's governor, attorney general, and secretary of state, who he calls synagogue of Satan Jews. You said that Mr. Oltmann would...
What? I'm sorry.
Deeply honored to have the endorsement of your good friend Joe Oltmann, the MAGA podcaster who has called for the execution by hanging of Colorado's governor, attorney general, and secretary of state, who he calls synagogue of Satan Jews.
Oh my God.
You said that Mr. Oltmann would have made a great governor himself, and you endorsed his failed run to become the Colorado Republican Party chairman.
Oh my God.
Do you also believe that Colorado's governor, attorney general, and secretary of state should be arrested, tried, and hanged?
Dodge a wrench, you can dodge a question.
Oh my God. Kyle came fully loaded for this. Holy shit.
And do you also believe that they are synagogue of Satan Jews?
Joe Oltmann and I disagree very strongly on the nation of Israel, very, very strongly. This is our biggest dividing point. We've gone around and around about it. I don't have a problem with the Jewish people at all. In fact, I think as a pastor, I've always backed that. I believe Scripture says that you're supposed to bless Israel or you'll be cursed if you curse Israel. And so I stand strongly with the Jewish people. I also do know that there are indictments coming down pretty soon for Secretary of State Griswold and Attorney General Weiser. Some of this was including Governor Polis. I don't think it has anything to do with them being Jewish. I think it has to do with them being corrupt.
Then why describe it as a synagogue, man? If not anti-Semitic, why anti-Semitism shaped?
And it's specifically for sedition, so in that we saw her Griswold go after Trump to actually be on the ballot. So synagogue of Jews, no.
Yeah, we have paid attention to Oltmann's Joe Oltmann's podcast in the past, but like, I gotta be honest, I watched so many of these far right freaks. They blur together, and like, god damn it, like that we are at a point where a conservative candidate running for governor of a state is just openly endorsing these far-right podcasting freak shows. It's really, really... Like, it shows how far gone conservatism is in America. There are no normal conservatives left as a meaningful movement anymore. It's all fascism.
Can't get behind that statement.
So just to clarify what you're saying, you believe that you have insider information that there will be a federal sedition indictment against Colorado's Secretary of State and Attorney General, sedition being a charge punishable by death. I just want to clarify, that's what you're saying?
Yes, treason. And the indictments are probably going to come down around mid-summer. There's also 4 other investigations.
Do you share your good friend Joe Oltmann's view that they should be tried and, if convicted, executed?
No, I'm not against the death penalty. I'm strongly in favor of the death penalty. But from the things that I've seen, the conversations I have, I don't think that it warrants that level.
And a last question on this. If you're elected governor, would Mr. Oltmann have a role in your administration?
Assuming it's not around Jewish people, Probably.
I think some folks are going to find that funnier than others. Marshall?
Let's turn to the issue of taxes in the state budget, which has a $1.5 billion.
Oh my God.
Assuming it's not around Jewish people, probably.
Yeah, he's called for the execution of his political adversaries and hates Jewish people, but we definitely still have him in a position of authority and power. Jesus. This is like people in the MAGA world, they have no principles. None whatsoever.
I think some folks are going to find that funnier than others. Marshall?
Let's turn to the issue of taxes in the state budget, which has a $1.5 billion.
Are Democrats in Colorado having a primary? Yeah, it was a fairly uneventful primary debate. They've had multiple.
$1 billion shortfall. Ms. Kirkmeyer, you're well versed in the budget, being on the Joint Budget Committee. You support a potential ballot issue that would require the state to spend about $700 million a year on roads. Voters have already told lawmakers to spend $350 million on law enforcement. So at what point do you have a responsibility to tell voters the truth that locking up general fund dollars in one place means cuts to areas like K-12 education or Medicaid?
Well, first of all, I got stuck on your words. What point do I think it's important that I tell voters the truth? I've always told voters the truth. And I have told them the truth with regard to every time that the Democrats have gone after TABOR, or Taxpayers' Bill of Rights. For example, I co-chaired the No on HH campaign, so I will tell them the truth. And the issue with our budget isn't that we have a $1.5 billion shortfall. We have a structural deficit. So in other words, it's like, when the parents give the kids the credit cards and they overexpend and they max out the credit cards. In our case, the Democrats are the kids and they've overspent. So we don't have a revenue issue, we have a spending issue. And we have prioritized education because it's a mandate in the Constitution, and I would continue with that. But what has happened over the course of the last 4 years that I've been on the Joint Budget Committee is the governor comes in with a budget request that is not balanced, and then I have to sit there and fight with Democrats for about 6 months to get it into line, and we have to determine where our priorities are. And they like to go off and spend money on things that we shouldn't be spending.
Man, that sure is a lot of words to not answer the question, which seems to be pretty straightforward, which is, if you spend money in one place, you can't spend money in another place. So why aren't you being upfront about that reality?
Money on, basically, that are not core functions of government.
Just real quickly, when would it become a spending problem? If you're locking up some money over here and you can't touch that, isn't that a spending problem?
No. It's not. And in fact, when Proposition, 130 was passed, that said $350 million would have to go, of our general fund money would have to go to the recruitment, training, and retention of law enforcement officers at the local level. I was the one who marshaled that bill through. Everybody said, oh my God, this is going to kill our budget. We can't do this. We did do it. We found a way to do it. And it simply goes back to, we have revenues coming in, we have funding, it's a spending problem, and there's a crisis of priorities.
Thank you, Ms.
I can't believe she did so poorly at answering that question. Barbara, what the hell?
Sure.
Mr. Bottoms, you're calling for Colorado to eliminate property taxes, which exclusively fund local services like schools and fire departments, hospitals, county roads and bridges. This would create a more than $15 billion budget gap. But you have said that Colorado could actually recoup $20 billion by ending taxpayer funding for abortion, transgender surgeries, quote unquote illegal immigrant abortions, which feels redundant, and illegal immigrant programs and plans. So can you explain to folks?
Jesus. What's crazy to me is that this is not isolated to Colorado. This idea that you can simply cut things, like, oh, we'll cut all the money for abortion, or we'll cut all the money that's being wasted on undocumented immigrants. But like, they don't have facts or figures related to how much the state is spending on undocumented immigrants. And to the extent that they do have any, it indicates a far lower amount of money being spent in those ways. Like, trans surgery, that's not even good. That's probably not even going to break like 100 million, right? Like, and I feel like 100 million is being very, very generous. That's probably going to be like around $10 million, maybe. And when you start looking at like abortion, Colorado State not spending that much money on abortion either. And Colorado is also not spending a whole lot of money on like services for undocumented immigrants. The idea that you could even reach $1 billion with these kinds of cuts and crackdowns is absurd, especially because doing a crackdown on undocumented immigrants requires paying a lot of money to local cops. That requires spending more money than you would ever get back. Like rounding up undocumented immigrants doesn't make money. It sinks money. Like, undocumented immigrants, when they are allowed to work and live in communities, pay into the tax pool. They pay into the tax pool. They contribute to the local society. It actually makes it harder to reach any kind of savings goal by removing undocumented immigrants. Like, the idea that you would somehow bridge a $15 billion gap is absurd. And I say that time and time again because, frankly, Republicans rely on people not thinking it through in order to make the claim that, oh, we'll just save all the money that way and we won't have any more property tax. But that's just their backdoor way of cutting your local fire department's budget, cutting your local school budget. It's just their way of cutting all of the services you and your family rely on a day-to-day basis.
The math of how this would work and how you would restore that $20 billion.
Well, it's all vibes, but it's also insidious. It is relying on conservative vibes to sell you on this idea, when in reality, the conservatives who push this know this is just a way to cut local programs.
$1 billion worth of funding for schools, fire departments, and hospitals based on those 4 items.
Yeah, first, it's not redundant because there are specific other bills that were intentionally designed to only be for illegal immigrant abortions. So to say that the state is funding abortions, those are actually 2 different subjects when you're talking about monies. The ability to accomplish this across the state, it's not that big of a deal. We do have those, so property tax does go into county and income tax goes into the state.
Now, wait a minute. Undocumented immigrants do not pay taxes because they do not have social security numbers. They're not on, say, HB1 visas. That's true. However, undocumented immigrants pay more in taxes because, for example, if they work, taxes are withheld from their paycheck. If they even get a paycheck, right? But their employers reap the benefits of their labor. The employers still have to pay taxes, right? On top of that, you have the fact that they are spending money paying sales tax in their local communities in order to, buy goods and services to live. Here's the Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy. Tax payments by undocumented immigrants in 2024. All right, key findings. Undocumented immigrants paid $96.7 billion in federal, state, and local taxes in 2022. Most of that amount, $59.4 billion, was paid to the federal government, while the remaining $37.3 billion was paid to state and local governments. Undocumented immigrants paid federal, state, and local taxes of $8,889 per person in 2022. In other words, for every 1 million undocumented immigrants who reside in the country, public services receive $8.9 billion in additional tax revenue. More than a third of the tax dollars paid by undocumented immigrants go toward payroll taxes dedicated to funding programs that these workers are barred from accessing. Undocumented immigrants paid $25.7 billion in Social Security taxes, $6.4 billion in Medicare taxes, and $1.8 billion in unemployment taxes in 2022. At the state and local levels, slightly less than half, 46% or $15.1 billion of the tax payments made by undocumented immigrants are through sales and excise tax levied on their purchases. Most other payments are made through property taxes, such as those levied on homeowners and renters, 31% or $10.4 billion, or through personal and business income taxes, 21% or $7 billion. So there are a lot of different ways that undocumented immigrants pay taxes, and they are barred from accessing almost all of the social programs that those taxes fund. Like, I'll even link it to you if you feel inclined to read it.
I actually want to do away with both of them. So
could you just walk us through the math of how those items add up to $20 billion? We've tried to do the math ourselves, but I'd like to hear your math.
On the four things you mentioned?
Yes, sir.
So it's actually much higher than that, I think, in a lot of different levels. But here's some of the simple math. We have one bill alone that went to illegal immigrants.
And I understand there was also the question there about Social Security numbers. Undocumented immigrants still pay taxes underneath their what's called an individual taxpayer identification number, ITIN. In case you're wondering, well, how do they pay the taxes? That's how they do it.
Grant programs and plans. That was $104 million. And actually what it was supposed to be is $17 million.
You're talking about covering all Colorado, a health plan.
Yes.
For folks. Yeah, please continue.
Okay, so it was supposed to be, good job, you did homework. So $17 million to cover all Colorado. It immediately became, within that same calendar year, over $104 million. That's just one item. We're also funding abortions for anybody across the United States to come to Colorado. We're a destination state. So that's through the roof costs, and that continues to grow.
And you're aware that the state has estimated, the nonpartisan budget staff has estimated that that's $6 million. And then the transgender surgery is about $230,000. Needless to say, we added up all the categories that you and your campaign have cited, and it gets you 0.5% of the way to the $20 billion that you would strip out of schools, fire departments, hospitals, roads, and bridges. Where would the rest of the money come from?
Well, the first thing with the abortion numbers is, yes, we did see those abortion numbers in committee when the Speaker of the House was taxing or making sure that the taxpayer dollars went to abortions. They were 250% lower than what the
Jack's 100 million was definitely overestimating. Oh, absolutely.
The actual numbers are, and we presented that, but that's not making the cut because Democrats control the House. The transgender surgeries were almost 35 times higher than the numbers that were given, but that's not going to make the cut because the Democrats control the House.
None of this is going to sufficiently pay for $20 billion that you're projecting, let alone the $15 billion that you need if you want to cut property taxes completely.
You know, with the illegal
Mr. Bottoms, thank you. We went over on this, but just a quick word. You're waving your hand at me. Obviously, you've written the state budget for years. How do you assess his math?
Wrong. That he
like a little wrong?
Oh, no. May I go?
Please.
Thank you. Well, to cut $20 billion, I'm assuming he's saying that's out of the state budget. That would be more than the total general fund operating budget by $1.5 billion. So basically, you would have to cut everything to, I guess you're going to backfill local governments who are losing property tax. Because the one thing that he did say that was correct is that the state doesn't collect property taxes. That is at the local level. So I'm not sure how he would affect that because he doesn't have any ability to, either as a legislator or even as the governor in the executive branch. But wrong. It's like way off. The $6 million is probably still a bit high based on some of the cuts that we've made just even in this last budget year.
Ms. Kirkmeyer, thank you.
Sure.
I don't mind answering the other part of your question if you want.
I'm going to turn to Mr. Marx real quick on the budget. You can come back to the lectern. Thanks for stepping back. I've repeatedly heard you call for audits of state departments, but state agencies are subject to annual financial and compliance audits done by the state auditor. In your review of the current annual audit process, what specifically do you think is missing?
Well, the fact that you said that the state is auditing itself gives me pause of concern. I think we have to bring in outside folks, much like the Doge, to really get in forensic performance audit, but for waste and fraud. It's a management issue that the only way to go through it, I opened up the long bill the other day and started looking at it and thought,
Man, imagine referencing a program that killed like that's killed hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people already, and is going to kill millions more as like a great thing to do in the state of Colorado. Like a program that single-handedly brought back screwworm to screw over ranchers across America.
Pretty complicated.
Not for me.
Is that an apology?
No, I said not for me.
Sorry. Because look at where we're at. I think getting the right eyes on it, doing the right audits, will help keep people accountable. And that's what the folks in Colorado who feel like they're never heard around the state by politicians. They want accountability for the money being spent.
Thank you, Mr. Marx.
You're welcome.
We're not doing many yes or no questions, but we will do just a couple of them here. Tina Peters was released from prison yesterday, thanks to clemency from Democratic Governor Jared Polis, and she immediately returned to her claims that Democrats are cheating on elections, that she was put in prison as retribution for finding evidence that voting machines flip votes. So first off, I'll ask each of you to answer just in yes or no format. Is Tina Peters telling the truth when she says that Democrats have rigged elections in Colorado using voting machines to flip votes? Ms. Kirkmeyer?
No, I don't believe so.
Mr. Bottoms?
Yes.
Mr. Marx?
Well, it's her word against everyone else.
Would you provide a full pardon to Tina Peters, wiping away her felony convictions, allowing her to serve as an elections official again if she wants and voters were to elect her? Mr. Marx? Full pardon for Tina Peters, yes or no?
Well, I think Trump's going to do that before anybody does.
He constitutionally can't do it. You could as governor. Would you do it?
Sure, if I needed to.
I'm asking you if you would.
I'm asking you if I thought
we can move on.
Should.
Mr. Bottoms, would you provide...
Oh, God. Oh, he's the front runner. He's the front runner of these three. Oh, God. Why?
A full pardon to Tina Peters?
Yes.
Ms. Kirkmeyer?
No.
Ms. Kirkmeyer, your history includes leading an effort in 2013 to have Northern Colorado secede from the state, meaning break away from the state.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh God. She's a secessionist? I'm truly baffled.
It failed, and since then I've heard you say you'd do it again because putting it on the ballot was simply listening to your constituents. Why should voters trust you to lead a state that you tried to leave?
So thank you for the question, and I actually didn't try to lead. I did listen to the voters and the people in my county who we asked them if they wanted to, they asked us if we should be pursuing it. Us meaning the Board of County Commissioners. They wanted to have a survey. We said we would just put it on the ballot. And the ballot was basically to say, should we pursue succeeding from the state? Not should we succeed from the state, but should we pursue that? It went down, so we didn't pursue it any further. But here's the thing. Our voters at the time, my constituents were saying that there is a huge gap between rural and urban here. At that point, we weren't getting our roads even snow plowed after 10 o'clock at night through the next morning. We were having problems where there were utility issues for rural utilities, but municipal issues. Municipal utilities didn't have to do the same thing. Grants that should have been coming to rural Colorado, to my county in specific, were not coming to us. They were going to another area. So even then Governor Hickenlooper said it was probably a good thing that happened for the state, and it made us stronger. So anytime my constituents ask me to put something on the ballot and they want to have their voice, and that is their voice because they get to vote, I am going to do that.
You said you didn't try to leave. I just want to confirm in this forum, how did you vote on that?
I voted for it.
Thank you.
To pursue it.
I didn't try to leave. I just voted to leave.
And to look at it. There are many steps that you have to go in place to do that. So again, I would listen to my constituents and follow the will of the voters, and that's what I did.
Mr. Marx,
how is Marx the front runner? The most recent polling has him up by like 40 points compared to the next closest, which is that lady who is apparently a secessionist.
You make claims that are unlike any ever made by somebody running for Colorado governor in recent history. You claim that you've been all around the world armed to the teeth rescuing women and children from captivity, that you've stopped human smugglers at the Mexico border and made them pay a price, that you as a civilian called in a U.S. military airstrike that killed 70 ISIS fighters, that you were the first American into Gaza during the war with Israel, that you've done 150 high-risk missions and every one has been a success. You told me last week that it's all true and that you don't need to prove it to anyone. But you're talking to voters now. How should voters decide whether you've lived one of the most extraordinary lives in human history or whether you're a liar and a fraud?
Can we back up to her for 1 second?
Please answer the question, sir.
I will. But this, I'll make a little informal complaint. The folks at home don't want to hear about her past and what she did. That's not going to make a lick of difference to those who are having trouble putting food on the table, Kyle, paying their...
Yeah, people don't want to know about the past actions of their elected representatives. They just want smoke blown up their ass, apparently.
Electricity bill, having to try to figure out how they send their kids to school.
Sir, how much of your time do you plan to burn before you answer the question of whether you tell the truth?
Do I tell the truth?
How should voters discern whether you have had one of the most extraordinary lives in human history or whether you are a liar and a fraud?
Well, simply go back. I have 20 years of videos and documentation and people. We just had our head of security in Iraq call in a video today. The proof is just in people and what we document. I thought it was funny how you said when you came to the training center, the pictures and what we showed and things, it wasn't good enough for you. I can't help it if I've had an extraordinary life. I'm an ordinary fella.
I love that his literal answer is just, well, we took pictures though. You got to believe the people who work for my organization. Why, one of my employees the other day just called in an extraordinary video. It's like, that's not evidence. Like, find people who aren't affiliated with your organization to corroborate what you're saying.
And starting from my childhood all the way to now, me standing up on a stage running for governor, Reagan, I said I was going to talk about you. Come, seats. This little dog, she's going to go bite you right now, Kyle. She was in Syria and...
Oh, this is a different dog. The last one was Scout. This one's Reagan. Also, we saw from that video earlier that he does in fact have dogs that are trained to attack people. So the joke that that dog is going to attack Kyle Clark is not really an idle joke. It's a threat, frankly.
In Iraq. So is she lying too?
Well, the dog's not running for governor. You're running for governor, and you spent precious little time answering the question, other than to say that folks have to take the word of you and your staff for your accomplishments.
No, I said thousands
Mr. Bottoms,
of
a question
people,
for you as we approach closings here.
I've saved thousands of people, but you can't independently verify any of that, Kyle.
To have uncovered $30 billion worth of corruption in Colorado. $30 billion worth of corruption. That would be $2 out of every $3 in the state budget. Where's your evidence?
This evidence was originally produced 5 years ago. The executive director for Colorado Commission on Judicial Discipline presented this. He was the whistleblower that was working in the Supreme Court when this happened. This has been admitted by Supreme Court Justice Coates, and that he was colluding. This is just one case of this bigger picture, that he made sure...
Sir, if I might clarify, the Christopher Gregory evidence that you're referring to was a $2.6 million bribery scandal in the state judiciary, which has been widely reported on by the news media. That would be less than 0.1% of the $30 billion in corruption that you're claiming in Colorado. Where's your evidence?
Well, he's already sent you the information. He showed me this. One tiny element of that was the almost $3 billion that was covered up by Attorney General Weiser. Yes, it has been reported on, but nobody's investigated it. Nobody's gone down that road. We've had multiple whistleblowers. This is who I am. I'm going to get it out there in the public, and we're going to do this. There's more than in the stacks and stacks and stuff that they sent you. There is more than 2,500 pages of more evidence of all of this same collusion involving Supreme Court, involving the judicial system, and involving attorneys.
So again, to put a pin on it, you're saying that $30 billion, 2 out of every $3 in Colorado's budget, is corruption.
This has gone back for about 5 or 6 years, and some people have said as high as 33. I'm taking their word at 30 billion.
Very conservative. Thank you, sir.
I'm going to go by a raise.
I am without words. These people are genuinely too stupid to be doing what they're doing. This is irresponsible. This is like a violation of the very concept of democracy for these people to even be in the ring in the first place.
Of hand here on abortion. Colorado has codified
awooga indeed, Phalia.
Abortion access in the state constitution.
Yeah, this is all deeply fucked. And I really wish that this was limited to just Colorado Republicans, but it's all Republicans everywhere. There are no reasonable Republicans anymore. They got chased out of the party. The reasonable ones went to go work at the Bulwark. And they're still fucking Republicans, by the way. Don't you guys ever forget that the people who work over at the Bulwark, even though they might break stories, they're fucking conservative to the bone. But like, anyone still left in the mainstream GOP, they're just MAGA. They're just MAGA fascists.
Through Amendment 79, it would take another constitutional amendment to get rid of that. Would any three of you, by a raise of hands, lead an effort to try to take that out of the state constitution?
I would.
Only Mr. Bottoms? You failed successfully already at the state legislature, getting no support on your bills on similar issues. How would you do that as governor?
With a ballot initiative of the people. 40% of all the people that voted on 79 that constitutionalized this, 40% said they would not have voted on 79 if they knew it was going to be taxpayer dollars that did that. And then the Speaker of the House ran that bill to bring the taxpayer dollars to it. I think that was a little devious, but I also think for the voters of Colorado that was a little naive.
Thank you, Mr. Bottoms. Ms. Kirkmeyer, you've changed on this, it sounds like.
No, I thought the Constitution said may fund abortions. It doesn't say shall. That's my understanding.
Except McCluskey ran the bill.
But we're talking about the Constitution. I understand what legislation was carried, but that's what the Constitution says. It's a may, so it's not an absolute that funding has to be provided for abortions in the state of Colorado.
It is statutorily demanded that it is funded by the taxpayers. That's statute right now.
Thank you to the three of you.
I didn't give my answer.
Your answer was not raising your hand.
Well, it was kind of a tricky way you said it. What's your name again?
It wasn't a goddamn trick. It wasn't a trick, man. Oh my god. This guy would fucking fall for like a quarter being found in his ear.
Marshall. Mine's Barb. His name's Marshall.
And we're going to move on to closings.
Hey, I will tell you this. If the people rise up, because I'm for life, not death, it's the people of Colorado that have to rise up.
This hour has flown by. Folks even haven't had an opportunity to learn one another's names, but you will now each make a 1-minute closing statement as determined by a random draw ahead of time. Mr. Bottoms, you're first.
Yeah, I think this is pretty important for the state of Colorado right now. Maybe even as dynamically important, more important than what we've been talking about at some level. The Democrats across the state are very frustrated with the Democrat leadership. 85% of the state says they don't want boys and girls sports, that they are not okay with transgender surgeries, and you can go right down the line. Yes, potholes in the economy are huge, but Democrats have never crossed the aisle to vote for potholes and budget. But I do.
That is absolutely false. Democrats do cross the aisle to vote for potholes. They do not seemingly in the main cross the aisle to try and vote against health care for citizens by and large.
believe this is our time right now when even many Democrats are saying we've gone too far, we've gone too leftist.
Wait, The Bulwark is a Republican channel? Seriously? Yeah, they're all neocons. Like, if you look at the work history of basically everyone who works at The Bulwark, they're all former, like, staffers of Republican politicians or former, like, political consultants who worked for Republican politicians. Like, they're all fucking neocons. Like, Tim Miller is a neocon. Like, they're basically, John McCain Republicans over at The Bulwark.
We've got to change that. Unaffiliated, independent, 52% of our state. Most of those are leaning toward, almost 80% are leaning toward parental authority and protecting children. Hispanics are moving to the right. Under 30 crowd is moving strongly to the right. This is our time to actually reclaim Colorado. There is no metric in the state of Colorado that is positive right now. Everything has been destroyed by the Democrats, and even Democrats recognize it, and they're going to vote for me for governor.
Thank you, Mr. Marx.
Well, you can tell that I'm not a fan of the Democratic way, because it feels like the debate really isn't positive questions for real solutions for the people of Colorado. It sounds like it's fodder for the general. And I'll tell you, neither one of these folks are my opponents. You're going to be doing a debate with them shortly. But I can do anything I want in my closing, right?
It's your time.
I'm going to pray. Father, thank you, Lord, for your goodness and your mercy. And God, I pray that your will would be done in our state to relieve suffering and pain. We need a healed state. We need Coloradans to come together for a change, Lord, and stop all this political nonsense.
You're fucking running to be governor. Stop all the political nonsense. You are a politician. God damn. Bagel Rabbit, thank you very much for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. Come on in, make yourselves cozy. We're almost through the insanity, but this is genuinely next level. I'm so upset.
So I love you. Pray you bless Senator Kirkmeyer and Scott and the two gentlemen that are holding this. In Jesus' name, amen.
Exactly on time. I don't know how I would have cut off.
And my eyes were closed.
That was very good. Ms. Kirkmeyer.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say that the past does matter, and the truth actually really does matter. So with that, I would say for the last 8 years, we've had one party control. Democrats have been in charge, and they have made a mess out of our state. They've made us unaffordable, unsafe. We're unraveling. Our roads are horrible. They're horrible to drive on. Everything is wrong. I would agree. I would agree with Representative Bottoms on that issue. But here's the thing. The only person in this race that is actually qualified to be governor is me. I'm the only one who's actually ever governed. I've governed and I have decreased taxes. I've balanced budgets. I've built roads. I have backed the blue. I've done so many things to make people's lives better. I don't run to make a point. I run to ensure that I can make a difference in people's lives, and that's what I'm doing. I'm a mom, I'm a grandmother, I'm a fourth generation dairy farmer, fourth generation Coloradoan. I grew up on a dairy farm in North Jefferson County. And you know what? My job, along with my siblings, we all had a job to do, and my job was to feed the calves and clean up a lot of the you-know-what. Well, it turned out it was pretty good training for a career in politics to clean up the you-know-what. Barb Kirkmeyer for governor, I appreciate your vote. And I'm asking for your vote tonight.
Thank you,
have
Ms.
a clear
Kirkmeyer.
choice. Thank you.
Our audience has been very respectful. I now invite you to join me in thanking the candidates for debating here tonight. Thank you to our hosts at the University of Denver.
I just have to say, there are no more Republicans. These are not. The Republican Party is dead. There's only MAGA. There's only the MAGA fascists. That's it. There are no moderate conservatives anymore. Like, we had 3 candidates running for governor in the Republican Party on stage right there. Those were the 3 front runners, right? And we had a secessionist who tried to remove northern Colorado from the state. We had a man who has lied about there being hundreds of thousands of Tren de Aragua gang members across Colorado planning an uprising. and then who thinks that we can get Colorado can get $30 billion more by cutting abortions, trans healthcare, and getting rid of undocumented immigrants, when in reality that would not even crack a couple $1 million at most. In the process, he wants to cut, by the way, he wants to cut property taxes, the vehicle that funds everything on the local level in America. Then we got Victor Marx, a guy who just lies constantly and can't seem to be fully aware of where he is, what he's talking about, what people are asking him about. And when he does seem particularly lucid is when he gets asked about his record as a combat master in Cajun Karate and his lifetime as a extreme missionary saving tens of thousands of people. And when asked about to give any details on saving those people, he gets real wiggly about it. Those are your 3 MAGA candidates. Absolutely baffling. Absurdly dangerous. And that's why we need people to get involved on the local level, right? We need people to join their local Dems. We need people to join their local DSA. We need people to join Progressive Victory, because we need to mobilize people on the local level to push back against this insane nonsense. Because make no mistake, folks, if you are not organizing against this right now in your local community, I guarantee you there are delusional fascist fucks who are organizing specifically to take over your community. So join your local DSA, organize local labor, join your local Dems, make them less shit. Take your local Dems away from the corporate Democrats, make them work for the working class. All right. And you can, if you need help getting started or don't know how to present an argument and build alliances, we can help you do that. Join our Discord, reach out to Dragonfly for help with your local Dems, reach out to GamerG for help with your local DSA. We need to get organized yesterday. And there's a link below for you to check out Progressive Victory, which can help you hook up to Door Knock or Phone Bank or Text Bank for various socialist campaigns and Democrats across the country. So all that being said, also comment, subscribe, do the things, you know the things, the button things. And do consider supporting the show with your subs, donos, memberships, super chats, because you guys make this show possible. Could not do it without you fine folks. And last but not least, check out ImageneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. Also tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. It is comfortable, sexy lingerie that's non-tucking. Go check it out, ImageneOlivia.com. Link down in the description as well. And let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat.